too hard to understand where that came from.
Really liking the Zoe bans that we're seeing today, and that's not to do with some catharsis needed over Zoe beating me in solo queue, but more about where the power level of Zoe is with everything else nerfed. Literally, basically every other mid lane has been touched in the last couple of patches, and Zoe had some PvE nerfs where they were reverted, so she's at her same stage. That stage is strong. Speaking of strong, good old mate Vladimir is going to be on the bench for this game, so Kingzone actually taking away multiple pieces of the Hanwha Life Game 1 comp.
Like the idea, you remove Ashe, Tom Kent as a duo, you remove the Vladimir who just gets harassed and then farms up anyway. Lulu that gets banned here as number 3 ban for Hanwha Life. Very interesting, and Kingzone say, hello, now we're going to play the Yasuo.
Alrighty then, first pick Yasuo meta. Maybe the League of Legends
I like it.
On patch 9.3 is alright. Yasuo in solo queue when its first pick, get tilted that someone didn't ban Yasuo in the pro play though. It's up and down, and oh, is it fun when it starts popping off. Do Hanwha Life Esports have to contest the Zac, or are they willing to go back to Bono's tried and true? They're going to go for the Olaf, and if they see any shield champions or abusers of Frostfang, I think they'll be very happy with their choice.
It's, in a way, a soft counter to that one, and it's a big one played by Bono all the time. He is 4-1 on the Olaf so far this season. What is going to be followed up here by Hanwha Life? What will it be? It will be the Thresh that comes in here. Very high priority nowadays.
I really want to see Sejuani on the side of Kingzone. They're going to go for Gragas, which is fine for a similar reason, but Sejuani was always the jungle tank that found it easiest to disengage Olaf invades, and of course has multiple ways to open up the last breath herself. Gragas could just do the same thing, and remember, it could just be support Gragas. Kingzone, what are we thinking when it comes to this pick? This could be a Huni special in the top lane, could be a mid lane choice. Are we going to see Deft on the Jinx at some point? Possibly, Valdez, but for now, the Cassiopeia is locked in, and we might have a mid lane matchup that can go either way.
Yeah, LeBlanc gets locked in here as it was banned in game number 1. That was banned away by Hanwha Life, actually, up against Pawn. They say, okay, Nahil not going to pick it up. We should ban Lulu instead, and we'll play it ourselves, as Temp no stranger to the pick.
Here's a question to you. We've seen already bot lane Yasuo today. Do you feel like bot lane Yasuo is winning in scrims? Because we already see Yasuo Gragas locked in the first round, and usually when a duo like this crops up kind of halfway through a match week, you just say, I see what's going on in scrims then. Because Yasuo was ignored for 2 days of the week, and then is now first pick, so...
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard, though, that just in the span of, 1 day of scrims, all of a sudden, one team is bringing it out, and then I guess that team that lost to it would have to also bring it out against other teams to spread it around, and then a couple of times in pro play, and teams are like, hey, this actually looks good.
I find it usually happens when a team that's been losing scrims suddenly wins a block, and you're like, wait, what do they know that we don't know? And that just kind of pays it forward, like you're alluding to. Speaking of paying it forward, 2 Frostmancy champions banned by Kingzone against Hanwha Life, which say, shoe on the other foot moment. Sangyun says, where's my best mate, Tom Kent? Well, that's gone, but he can still go for Ashe, and he hasn't lost on this pick yet.
Or he could pick Teemo.
He could, but he's not going to.
Oh. Well, Sivir, I like this a little bit better with the Thresh, also pretty good with the Olaf.
Jinx could definitely be locked in here. If they're going to play a bot lane AD carry, it's a good matchup into Sivir. Risky into Olaf and LeBlanc, yes, but the matchup and the fact that it's Deft makes me very excited that we could actually see Jinx here. Jinx with IE is actually really strong with IE Rush at the moment. I would love to see Galio Jinx locked in here.
Galio is picked.
Come on, Jinx it. Give it to me.
Galio is not picked. Okay, take that back. Fiddlesticks is picked. And what goes along with the Fiddlesticks will be answered right now within 20 seconds. What have you got for us?
Could still be Cassio or the Yasuo bot lane, but I really want the Jinx, Valdez. I'm getting greedy. Oh, we're not going to get the Jinx. That's the opposite of Jinx.
Yeah, I know.
If I told you, if I showed you a
Okay, all right, Silas. That's better than Urgot for sure. When I saw the Urgot, it's the exact opposite in terms of hype levels.
Definitely if I showed someone a picture of Jinx and then showed them the rest of the champions, they picked the opposite, it would be Urgot. So Sylas, a little bit different there. Where's the Sylas going? Feels like Rascal will probably be the one on it, but we're not to know for sure. Final choice here, if you're expecting a Sylas, you could definitely consider a Yorick. Fiora would be the guaranteed lane against Yorick. It feels like that's a really strong lane. Against Sylas also. Feels like the Fiora is able to beat both. And now let's put it all together as we feel like this is potentially the lane assignment. The only question is, Cassio bot surely over the Yorick, over the Yasuo.
Yeah. Especially because Fiddlesticks, not a support that's going to be knocking anybody up anytime soon. But how about another change here? Something maybe that we weren't expecting. Sylas into the mid lane and then Yasuo top up against the Urgot. And it will be locked in here at 20 seconds, so that's actually what's going to happen. Oh, actually, I take that back as Sylas goes back up to the top side and Nahan will be playing the Yasuo.
That's a better matchup for the Sylas one I tweeted about. I really like Sylas in this match. Doesn't mean he wins auto by any means, but finds it easier to get priority on a champion who gets priority without even having to get a relevant rune in the Unsealed Spellbook. The fact that you have no keystone, that you desperately need to do damage is one of the reasons why Urgot is so strong. We've seen a bit of common Urgot this week. It could come out in this game anyway. But Sylas only one victory, and that was 0-3-0 Nogari turning it around for Dumb One Gaming. I think a lot of people are waiting to believe it when it comes to the Sylas hype. Let's have a look at the ults that Sylas will have to steal. We get to go to the other side. Some of them useful, some of them not. Actually quite a lot of utility here, but Urgot and Thresh can be very useful.
Urgot's always a fun one. You never expect the Sylas to throw out a giant chain to your death, but it definitely can happen here as it looks like we're ready, guys, to jump onto the Rift for game number 2 at Kingzone up against Hanwha. Here it is. Game number 1 was Hanwha Life able to win in just about 30 minutes. They pick up an Infernal into Baron into a near wipe and then just run it down mid and take the win pretty easily. But Kingzone this time around want to turn it on its head and pick up a win and force a game 3. It's what we were expecting, at least a game 3 series here between these two teams who seem very evenly matched.
Not sure I'm a huge fan of the draft they've locked in, though, to win game number 2 to force that game number 3. Nice path here from Olaf and Urgot. Rascal is going to have to flash.
See what he can do. No, just going to dash over the wall.
Doesn't want to skill E level 1, though, so not ideal. In this particular case, late invade. Hanwha Life love these. We can take the top side here, but Nayan and Kuz are lying in wait. This is 2v3.
Okay. 3-on-2 here in the favor of Kingzone. Body slam onto Tal, but he's got a shield. Now they turn onto Bado, who has to flash away. And uh-oh, Tal, did you go a little bit too far after burning your ults, or rather your flash? There it is. First blood given over to Nahan in the mid lane.
Hanwha Life have been pretty consistent with looking for late invades. We saw one earlier today as well, and really nicely read by Kingzone. They needed that sort of snowball. Doesn't matter about drafts, get enough kills to begin. So frustrating to walk into lane against a Fiddlesticks and the potential for the Dark Wind bounce. And Key says, well, I entered lane half health. Not ideal.
Not ideal indeed. Cassiopeia Fiddlesticks, definitely a super annoying bottom lane.
It's even better, Valdez, because when they tabbed at the start of the game, they noticed no teleport, no heal. It's actually cleanse from Songyun. So they don't even have the ability to kind of push up 1 or 2 waves and back for a refillable potion, and they don't have the heal to allow Key to extended trade against the Fiddlesticks, so they have to back away post-haste.
You want to have fun with your friend in the bottom lane, but you don't want to troll too hard with something like, I don't know, Pantheon Renekton, or Renekton Taric was a fun one when all the awesome dudes were coming out at that time. You can go for this one. This is definitely something a little bit more meta.
I want to talk about this matchup because, you know, I tweet out there, yep, liking the 1v1, and then every time you see it in LEC and when we see it around the world, Sylas ends up losing, and people like Pub Smithy, what we're talking about. The reason why Sylas has some good options into Urgot. As you think of Urgot's trade patterns, in the early levels, he has a really long cooldown on his Q, so he can't just be using that to harass you off every minion wave. So it's about trades as well. This could just be a solo kill. Stop ruining my analysis!
Would be a really unfortunate time for you, Papa.
The theory behind it is that as Sylas, your passive in the early game does quite a lot of base damage, and you can proc it in the minion wave when you're looking for aggressive trades against Urgot, whereas Urgot can usually only harass or wave clear. He can't really do both easily when he doesn't have 5 points in Q, when he doesn't have a Black Cleaver. So in general, you trade in a minion wave and Urgot kind of hurts you, kind of hurts the minion wave. You hurt Urgot and push the minion wave and make him accountable. That's what Sylas's trade patterns in the lane phase, especially if he can overextend. That's why he does suit the 1v1 pretty well, but an unreliable champion, especially on release.
Certainly does feel that way. I'm personally not a huge fan of Sylas so far. Just in solo queue and in pro play, it just hasn't really impressed me to that big level just yet. I'm sure we'll get the one game where someone comes out and we see something that's definitely happened in scrims where he steals a gigantic ultimate and totally turns the tide of the battle. But haven't really seen that on a big level just yet. So until then, I will hold my breath.
It's another fun thing to talk about because you know how we were speculating to, is X dominating scrims with, say, the potential this game of a Gragas Yasuo bot lane. For the same time, twice in one day, we also have had the one-day Yasuo meta that wasn't there before today. Hold the point for now because it's more here for a counter gank than a true gank. Tal doesn't have his flash, that's the reason why it's there. What you will see is champions like Sylas, and we saw, for example, Soaz first picking it very early for Misfits. We've seen first pick by SKT, we've seen a first pick by multiple teams, and then lose. And you're like, what the hell is this team dumb? Like, this team's not winning anywhere. What that tells you is that this champion scrims is bot lane.
Wow, Flash Spear, they want to get onto Songyun. That last Twin Fang plus the poison is going to be more than enough. Deft basically on 0 mana, but they make it work.
They double flash for it, but it works there, and even with cleanse, nothing Songyun can do. No heal, no problem. Nice kill to Kingzone. They're trying to win lane, win game, and this is a pretty good start.
Certainly is good feels for that lane who are looking to bully as much as possible down in the bottom side. Now we got Bono nearby. Chains are going to go wide as Cuz just here to be a bit of a bodyguard for Nathan.
But he's the big winner, Valdez, because it was the jungle collapse into just a 2v2 kill, while Olaf hasn't been able to get a huge farm lead, hasn't been able to find the impactful ganks. He's getting teleported on here.
Yeah, it is the Cassiopeia who can just make her way down to the bottom side, but it's more so a teleport to try to zone him out so they can get onto the Scuttle Crab. But they do back away from that one. It looks like with the bottom lane pushing and the wave in the bottom side that they don't want to miss, they will in fact give it away.
The reason why at the start of this game I was worried about the team comp from Kingzone is you look down the lineup and you're like, oh yeah, team fight, Gragas Yasuo, but then Sylas wants to be split pushing, Cassiopeia also wants to team fight, they engage. Is really only Gragas, as we're just seeing just the real investment on the flash there.
I love the highlight because they highlighted that the cleanse was burned. And so because of that, that's why Deft and Tucson decided we can make the play work.
Veterancy in the duo, right? Tucson and Deft have seen many skirmishes, not necessarily together, but of course, among the years in the LCK, so nice extended replay there. Appreciate that from the observers. As the game goes on, because Kingzone had kind of that mismatched identity of kind of 4-1, but no ranged wave clear and no hard engage outside of Gragas, that's why I was like, oh, I don't know about this draft from Kingzone, but they have strong lanes, and win lane, win game can happen, especially in a snowball meta, where you win lane hard enough to get some turret plates, and things can come together.
Fear in Miasma is just the worst. I mean, you don't have cleanse, you're going to die because they have that burst damage, the ability to just tip you down, and that they did. So good stuff there. Nahyun looking good on the level 1 that comes in. He gets a kill. It's a mid lane that's looking much better compared to game number 1, even though he is down a bit on CS. Bottom lane's looking good, so you have Deft on a bit of a carry, not the normal AD carry, but will be doing damage for the team. Things definitely looking much better in the early game here for Kingzone.
And Sivir will be mana constrained, trying to deal with this. She just wants to WQ the wave and get the hell out against a lane like this, especially with a cleanse down for a few more seconds, and that is a very mana-hungry champion. One of the few you could actually consider the Essence Reaver on is mid lane.
Okay, even the ult's blown for that one. They're going to force a flash away from that one, but in goes Bono. He's got the red buff. He's going crazy. In he goes. They hand the kill over to Tempt. But okay, Nahan wants to get another kill as the long-range tornado comes in. Can he dodge the hook? It looks like yes, as he dodges everything with this flash.
And that means they invested more members just to go even in the trade, and the kill goes on to Nahan, who's even earlier going to have that first item completion, want to hit a side wave. That's where things might get tricky. See how respectful Urgot needs to be to continue this lane. He's a couple CS behind the opponent, Silas. Watching the replay here, was a really good re-engage by Bono. He plays this really well because he realizes that Cuz has gone too far, and they can definitely get a chase kill, just need a little bit of damage from Tempt. The Q hitting or missing was whether there'll be a trade kill or not, and Naeon hitting that is so clutch because it's as Hanwha Life invests 2 more members and can only draw a flash.
You can see why Kingzone as a team are so willing to bring him in. I'm going to hold the point, though, as Deft is going to get chained down into the death sentence, and he will be sentenced to death for sure as Tempt another kill on the board, as both mid laners now are 2-0.
You kind of want a polite clap even as a caster, because that was really crisp, actually, on the execution from Hanwha Life to pick up Deft there. Able to dodge the petrifying gaze and exact knowledge of range from Key, who has always been a great hook support. Always a bit bold to walk up to 2 people as the Fiddlesticks is, Rascal, please stop. I just want one game where it goes like I think it does, Valdez.
I feel like the Silases have a lot of work to do in order to get to that level.
It just reminds me of Worlds, where I was trying to tell all the NA and EU casters that, yeah, Aatrox is winning that Urgot matchup. And every time Urgot was winning, and I'm like, I mean,
yeah.
One more analysis, I say there. So this is really, really well played by Hanwha Life in every way. Dodging the petrifying gaze, great knowledge of range there. There was a real chance that the flash hook would have been interrupted by the Scuttle Crab, but
that would have been hilarious, actually. But everybody that plays Cassiopeia also knows that feel where it's like, you get a LeBlanc chain onto you and you have nowhere to go. You don't have an escape outside of your flash. If you're not able to flash to victory, to safety,
Hanwha Life have found a great place to go with their duo lane. It's away from Fiddlesticks Cassiopeia. Their top lane, knowledge the key is here is not there yet, but probably implied, given they haven't hit their recall timing in bot. They show their faces. This is as Rift Scuttle is up and Drake has already been taken. This is a nice set piece move, but one that Kingzone can conga line to answer.
Everybody get on the conga line, coming up the river here as they're looking to punish in the top side. Can they get there in time? Shelly's going to get in the way as a Q, given over to that Yasuo. Will they find an engage? There it is. Knock him onto the Urgot, not the target you wanted. Trying to turn back on there, but Tucson very low on the fiddle, but no Urgot is going to be stunned as Deft going in, trying to do that damage, the ticking damage. Oh, he stopwatches at 1 health. He still goes down, though. A double kill now to the Cassiopeia, who is beginning to pop off here as a 2-1 victory in kills goes to Kingzone.
And he knock up his golden for Naeon. He's already a big boy, and that might be too much for Hanwha Life to handle. It was actually really well played by Bono because he kept the Rift Herald leashed and following him. So A, it was guaranteed to fully reset in terms of health bar, and B, as it walked back to the pit, it was going to interrupt the movements of Kingzone. Still doesn't matter though, until now. TP from Tal.
Yeah, trying to get behind them as, Tucson in a lot of trouble. Can they get the kill onto Naeon? That's the big important one. Tucson doesn't go down, but they will be able to take Naeon finally, as 450 gold will go into the pockets. Attempt, who gets even more fed at 4-0.
Mid laners here, yes, Cassiopeia bot laner, but otherwise mid laners prospering in this game. 4-0-0, no assist to LeBlanc. That is a very scary proposition, but he knows it's time to shop, and he's actually given up the turret plate for now.
That was weird. It looked like the Demolish was ready there for Thresh, but then for some reason disappeared. Not 100% sure.
So the reason for it, as we'll talk about for now, is it's actually a recall timing where he turns Lost Chapter into full Ludens and Sorcerer's Shoes. So needed to back. Here's the replay. They get the vision, but any knock-up from Gragas is fine. The Flay is huge from Key. 4-man Flay as he goes into stasis. Will eventually fall down, as at the end, the clutch nature of the stasis could not be overstated.
It allows them to pick up a kill onto Rascal, which may not have been there had he not used that one. And this is the turnaround where they're able to pick up the kill onto Nahyun.
Another little small point, watch as Tal holds onto his E until he buffers through the Fear. Fear does nothing to Tal because he's already in his E animation that he can't override with movement commands anyway. Nice little trick. You know that's out there. It's something to play around on both sides of the matchup.
That Ludens you were talking about, fully completed for the side of Tempt, but Kingzone as a team looking to take some objectives. They get the Rift Herald early before that 14-minute mark. They get double plate up in the top side as well. Now they're looking for Nahyun. Do they have the damage here? Rascal gonna get in range as the flash comes in, and okay, here's Cuz trying to come in, but Key is there to the safety. Saves his teammate of Bono, and nobody goes down.
He was desperately needed because Gragas was trying to wait out Ragnarok to open up the ult. As that was a Hex Smash over the wall. Very smooth moves for not much benefit. Turrets should be traded, but this is an inner, and now Hanwha Life are coming.
And that's how they get greed for that one, but they're looking to turn it around, actually, as Key is getting super low. The poison ticks down, and they do take him out. Petrifying Glaze as well onto Tal. And so they cannot follow up for the kill. So Kingzone, knowing they had the support from the team, stick around and turn it into actually another kill.
And I think they want to keep up these skirmishes because we've already talked about our issues with the team comps as they play out mid to late. In skirmishes like these that are being started by Kingzone, their gold leads from a good early game can be wielded much easier. Watching the replay here, Tucson just ults so that he has another AoE zoning tool. Tempt not able to assassinate anyone, and crucially, the Fear Beyond Death sails wide.
This is a 3-on-4 by Kingzone.
Yep.
They got the kill anyway.
They get out also. The build here from Rascal is not going to be a high damage one. There is actually going to be the off-tank build, probably going to be Iceborne Gauntlet. The rush from Rascal. Do worry that he will lack relevance as the game goes on. Look at the total damage charts, and even though there's been some notable chains that missed, enough of hit that Tempt has the most damage done in the game.
I mean, he nearly had a fully stacked Dark Seal so far in this game. It's at 8. Had 2 earlier, now just has the 1. As he's having a fun game, but you have 2 decently fed members on the side of Kingzone in the Yasuo and the Cassiopeia that will be scaling up into the late game that you will always have to worry about for Hanwha Life.
And you don't take buying Merc Treads as LeBlanc lightly, but he actually bought Sorcerer's Shoes, refunded them, and went Mercs just because every time he pops in to try to turn up that lead, Fear will mess up his combos at best, and maybe even lead to his death at worst. So had to go for the safety first here. It does lower the mid-game damage, and they kind of needed him to buy Sivir some time to get to future items. Remember, Essence Reaver kind of needed on the Sivir. We saw IE Sivir earlier this week, but can understand the Essence Reaver choice. Do feel good about eventually a 3-item Sivir and this off-tank Sylas not even being able to emulate the sort of damage that Noguri was putting out from behind earlier this week.
Well, he can steal some very big ults. You can see that he's got the Urgot one right now. As the game goes along, we'll see if he can, as a off-tank, do something in these fights to turn it around with some of those big ultimates.
Gotta say, the one cool thing is, I'm not sure if Sylas will ever evolve into, I can tailor my build to the enemy comp, i.e. there's some great scaling, go for a full AP build. But this game, when you look at the enemy, you say, wow, base ability of stealing the Urgot, don't care about scaling there. Sivir, don't care about scaling there. It is actually a couple of ults that are very useful on utility, even if the Sylas's actual contributions outside of the ultimate might still be pretty minimal. He can steal one, pop the Sivir ult, and pretty soon afterwards try to get a straggler with the Urgot ult.
Certainly seems to be the idea. You think about combinations with that one, you already have the Gragas Yasuo, but sustained damage from the Cassiopeia and getting that first kill with the Fear Beyond Death is not something to be taken lightly, even from behind. They're not behind right now. It's a very even game in terms of gold. Both teams exactly even at 29,000 here at 18 minutes.
Nayeon disagrees with the shiv into Sterix build we saw last game. It's actually going to be PDIE. Looking like it's going to be the course here. Already 100% crit, I believe. Maybe 90% put together from the item build. Walking up at this point. Kingzone DragonX, they have priority in bot lane for now. Can't tell from CS, but still going to be pushing power from the Silas. He roams up. Kingzone to kind of have to dive in with their faces. Remember, Fiddlestick's support isn't Braum, so he can't face check Brush to put down deep vision. You'd expect Kingzone's vision will stay pretty shallow this game, as the ult was kind of thrown out there.
Yeah, kind of interesting, but throws it out in the end. Not too much happening in this current time, although Tempt has been looking for those picks. He was in the top side. We all know what a Fed LeBlanc can do. Oh. But now Kingzone trying to get frisky here up in the top side. Up against that Olaf. Not quite going to commit, but uh-oh, Key, you stepped a little bit too far, close to the sun, rather, as he is forced to flash away from that one, and now the Olaf, kind of all by himself, is going to commit to his own flash over the wall eventually, as double flash blown there on the side of Hanwha Life.
Definitely a dominoes falling moment where one person has to make up for another person's mistake, and then two flashes are down, and a health bar is negated. Kina has to return, and even he won't be easily able to put down Vision. Vision as a premium means that side lane pushing can be oh so powerful, and Nayeon half an item away from maybe even fancying an outplay on LeBlanc.
Well, that's something I'd love to see. Was talking a lot about the mid-meta of old times, you know, Sion versus Urgot, or Galio getting in there versus Lissandra every game. Not very fun to watch, but Yasuo, first picks up against LeBlanc, responses, that's something I can get behind, especially now that we're seeing more solo kills and more action coming on in.
Wait and see if it's a one-day meta. Is it just you and I today getting all the Yasuo priority? How will teams look back on the games played today? It's definitely gone up and down. Here is the gold lead, which also has been a bit of a roller coaster. Do notice that the scale's not massive, though, so only about 1,000 gold up and then about 300-400 gold down so far for Kingzone. We don't like Kingzone as much as the game goes on, but that's not relevant till about 30 minutes, or say 3 items into a Sivir build. 6 is definitely the clincher, but at 2, and a very low damage 2 items. The defensive choice out of the Zeals and the Essence Reaver, the kind of least oomph on the first item. Still plenty of time for Kingzone to flex their muscles.
Trying to get on top of Rascal here, but Key not going to land that death sentence, essentially just zoning him away from a red buff that goes the way of the Thresh, actually, at the end of it all. Denies it from a Silas, I guess, but not too much other action happening in this game, so I suppose denying any kind of objective at this point is not so bad. Do have the Mountain Drake about to spawn. Consider that most of the Baron damage would be coming out of Sangyun on the side of Hanwha Life. Olaf not so bad, but would definitely like a Mountain Drake to buffer some of your objective takes.
3 control wards, so Kingzone have to be respectful on the entrance. Nayeon will not be there until maybe a cast can open up some gap close. Drake down to 2,000. Hanwha Life have to be careful with this. Here's Tal.
Tempt always threatening in the front line. 1 Q to the face of depth. Gonna take away 20% of his health, and well, okay, gonna take that Lantern to safety as he baits the Crow Storm, and Miasma is not quite able to land in time, and so Tal will survive.
Deft a bit late on the Miasma there. That would have been very high value and got them the kill on Tal. Doesn't come in after all, and the Mountain Drake going to Hanwha Life confirms no Infernals this game, but actually, it's a Mountain that Kingzone would have desperately wanted. We talked about how, 5v5's not loving it. Consider that it's after 20 minutes, and Kingzone have a very good dirty Baron. And by that I mean the Yasuo win wall and Yasuo damage, and just Cassiopeia as a champion.
Yeah.
The Cassiopeia, to her credit, hasn't gone Ludens, has gone for the higher mana build as well. So given that, they had a really good attempt here to sneak a Baron. The Mountain might have been the icing on the cake, but has been denied by Hanwha Life.
Face checking a bit here is Bono, only throwing the axe first, going to be forced to blow his ultimate. Get out of dodge here as both teams still looking for the picks to be able to roll it into anything else. You'll notice that still a lot of turrets are standing. Only one turret has been taken by both of the teams so far in this game. So we're very pushed up in this one. Thames, good respect up in the top side. No, he doesn't quite have the vision here and will not make the same mistake that we saw in the first series of this game.
Kingzone from ahead have nice one gauntlet, Silas who can push up, but no ults to steal to actually hit a team fight relevantly after the teleport. Yes, I guess you go super deep and run in with Olaf ult, but no Galio ult, right? No real high impact ultimate. So that makes me think that Silas can really only lane and take bot lane out of turret. It isn't going to contribute too much else. Very, very low damage on the build as well. So around pressure, all you can really do when Silas is doing well bot is take Baron. Let's look at the Baron vision and see if they can ever actually get deep enough vision to make that possible.
Well, they're trying as Cuz2 said, okay, we're going to be all-inning on Tabano, who does not have his ultimate. There it is. It takes 3 members to finally take out Bono. Will they stretch for key? The answer is no, but they pick up 1 kill, and as we said before, could roll it into some other objective.
That's a pretty big mistake there. Bono needs to go with friends. He didn't have Ragnarok at the start, and he didn't have key close enough to just get him out with a lantern. What do Kingzone want to do? They don't feel strong enough to start Baron. I gotta say, if you make that play even one more time this game and don't start the Baron, I know it's not ideal. There's still 4 members on the enemy team. Tal can come in and potentially get a smite, but if you don't take it and then Sivir has 3 and 4 items and you can't win team fights anyway, maybe you missed one of your small chances to actually make this game about you and not the enemy's scaling.
Yep. You always have to play to your win objectives. You cannot play into your enemies. You don't want that Sangin to get way too big. And you talked about the Dirty Baron. That might just be the case, the way that they win the game, as he's seen on a ward. He clears it out, walks on over. They're able to make the follow-up play.
And it goes even better than expected because he had just used his W, and that's why he was in range but didn't have W. There was no Ragnarok. Don't go that way, Bono. That's the way of death. But speaking of death, Sivir takes down the mid lane outer turret, and that means that Baron gets a bit harder. Because, of course, the mid lane outer turret going down. Minions push in, and they give a bit of information about what Kingzone want to do.
Moving in as a team, fantastic defensive control ward line here from the side of Hanwha Life around the Baron. Just great vision in general as they were able to move into that area as a team, place it all down, try to deny those dirty Barons who we're talking about. None of them going to be starting anytime soon unless they do get another pick. This is why all eyes are on Bono to not get picked again.
A lot of dirty Baron when I talk about it. It's obviously a fun thing to say, but it's really about 20-minute Barons and 21-minute Barons with wind wall and high damage. You kind of need a mountain drake. You kind of need it to happen while the lanes are a bit more defined. And now, you know, 3 members go missing, you're going to know that Baron is on. So hard to pull that off. Baron speed still pretty decent. Turret speed not as decent, and maybe just the Sivir ult to stop this happening.
Just push them away and threaten and engage as...
I mean, their siege super sucks on the side of Kingzone. It's just abysmal.
Their highest range, I guess, is Cassiopeia. I assume that's pretty similar with the Fiddle.
Yeah, about the same, I think.
Just based on feel. As, ooh, not quite able to land that one. Could have considered following him all the way down, trying to get a kill onto an Urgot, maybe making a play, but no can do.
So we can't really engage because they can't take out turrets and actually find multiple members to throw a Gragas assault. They can't siege. And right now, the Baron control is good for Hanwha Life. So short of another repeat of the mistake, we look at games like this, and Sandbox Game 1 against Juno was similar, and say, how do you move forward the game state? The only easy way is a Drake, but it's a cloud into a cloud. You're okay with that. Those are the last 2 Drakes to spawn if you're Hanwha Life Esports. So you're very, very worried that 283 CS Sivir becomes 383 CS Sivir without the game state changing.
Kingzone would have loved that kind of a Mountain Drake. Maybe an Infernal wouldn't have been so bad. But double Cloud is exactly what they do not want in this game. I suppose it gives a better opportunity for the Gragas to close the distance and maybe get an engage going, but that's just about it. It's also their first Dragon of the game, so... Outside of that, not much has been happening, and as you've been mentioning, that's always good for Hanwha Life. We're just waiting for Sangyun to get back online and be the carry once again. They always have that 4-0 LeBlanc in their back pocket as well, so they shouldn't be feeling too bad about this game so far.
Rascal walks up. He really only has a bait build. That's all his build does. He can steal things and he can not die for a while, but it's really all Rascal will be able to accomplish, so kind of makes sense for him to run face first. Try to create a bit of disarray. Tucson walking up here, but Deep War is going down. Now suddenly the shoe's on the other foot. Now actually Hanwha Life are the ones getting Deep Vision down.
There's that one nice ward right over the wall there on the left side from the side of Kingzone that allows them to not have to face check. Hanwha were able to show themselves, and all of a sudden turning into a little bit of an ARAM as Hanwha Life a little bit out of position in the mid lane, and Kingzone looking to take advantage of that.
Trying to zone themselves with the Sivir ult stolen. It's not going to work. No, I mean, seriously, they can't siege. I mean, it's terrible. Awful siege.
We give that like a D- in terms of siege. This is not your sieging composition, obviously.
You're resubmitting your siege application is what I'm saying here.
You got to rewrite it.
Exactly. Yeah. If this essay was turned in, it's not acceptable.
Yeah. At least we give them a second chance, though, maybe. But no second chances when you're down a game. Kingzone have to win this one if they don't want to go into this. The Ragnarok is going to be popped as Tucson. ProStorm is not going to do much as in goes the super fed LeBlanc. They have chunked them down so much. Have Hanwha Life, and now they're getting on top of the rest of Kingzone, but a 4-man blasting plant says no, but still tons of damage done. Hanwha Life, will they consider the Baron? They're certainly hanging around it for now.
They're going to start it for now. How are Kingzone going to contest? Rascal's still tanky, remember.
Tucson went back. He doesn't have flash, he doesn't have ult. He's going to be out of the fight for quite a while, so this will be 5v4. Can the steal come in? Flash in, though, from Deft. He is able to get that big ultimate down, but he is super low. Can they actually take him out? There it is. Olaf gets the first kill of the fight, and now Nahon, not in the best position, is able to get a double kill with the burst damage, but is able to make the best of a bad situation. But here comes Tempt on the chase. At the end of the day, it's just a 2-for-2 trade, not half bad.
Because they could actually get a lot of value out of Rascal. He was able to bait and control space and wait for the respawn to come in from the Fiddlesticks. And Sivir didn't have a permanent front line after Urgot and Olaf went down to actually min-max damage. So this is actually a really good Baron contest. This is where the item build from Silas does things. Watch what he does here. He's in the front. Remember, did not get a chance to shop or fill up health. Really nice engage here. Gets Sivir. That's the big thing. Sivir is hit. Has to cleanse, and Sungyun has to move back for a while. Not full value out of Sivir. The auto attacks here aren't ricochets on an entire team. Stasis after bait is done, and with the flash Q, the enemy smite taken away as well.
The game continues to be very even. Hanwha Life only 200 gold ahead after 30 minutes, which now you got 3.5 items on your Sivir. You're feeling pretty good. The IE is finished. Phantom Dancer as well. Second Zeal coming in. She's going to begin hitting like a truck.
But you hope, if you're Kingzone, that Hanwha Life overrate their spot in the game. Right now, if you asked me how far ahead are they in gold based on scaling, I'd say 4,000 to 5,000. So i.e. they're in a good spot. But they're not winning the game straight up. And this is a spot where someone, feeling brazen by that 3.5 item Sivir, walks up, gets Gragas ultimate, and deleted by Yasuo, and it's a 5v4. So because of that, it won't be Tempt or Sungyun most likely, but there's still Yasuo with 5 kills, i.e. deleting one member, and that's the sort of mistake you could foreseeably see Hanwha Life make.
Yasuo feeling pretty good about his third item, GA.
He's just spamming the letter R.
Yeah.
The moment he gets near a fight, he's got
whatever
GA.
happens,
exactly.
He's going in.
Exactly. Any knockup on anyone, he is going in. Speaking of going in,
yeah, Tempt doing his thing. Has the burst damage as always, but he finds Rascal, who's relatively tanky.
All right, cuz we're looking for the Cask of Destiny.
Gets a knockup on a key. There's the cask, okay? Everything in on a key, and he just disappears, so they get the Thresh. They get the support, but they get anyone is pretty good for the side of Kingzone right now.
And they get that pick, like you say. Tal can't really side lane against this big Yasuo. It's just too reliable to get those ults down. Speaking of ults, last breath, another 20 seconds or so could come up. Stolen again by Rascal is that Urgot ult. Of course, utility build plus a flat execute. Nice synergy there. They're running at the Baron. We know they do Baron damage. How do Hanwha Life approach this? They will be 4v5.
Well, they have the Olaf to check with some axes, but Kingzone trying to set up some kind of flank play, baiting them into it. Look at Deft and Nahyun back away, and here it is, the Crow Storm over the wall, trying to burst down Aftershock's Fiddle. It's not going to work, only if you get that Fear Beyond Death will it really ever get the kill. But at the end of the day, Hanwha Life able to stop a Baron, so props to them.
I like the approach they took there. Not every team is great at contesting Barons from the red side, but I love that the only person that tended up towards the expected flanker was Olaf with ultimate. That was really well approached. I think a lot of teams around the world could take inspiration from that. Now we have a gank rush of Sivir. Let's go.
Okay. Face to the paint, we're going on in. They're going to find a Silas. Can they burn him down? No, the Zhonyas will come in. They get the knockup on a Tal. But no way is Nahyun going to go in alone on that last breath. This time around, the pick is a bit more effective as they take away the Silas.
That means the TP is 45 seconds away. It's Sivir on Baron. How can they do anything to stop this? Remember, they're face checking. It's kind of Gragas in a dream.
Well, they don't have the cast this time around. They're going to have to rely on a body slam with the flash. At least Hanwha Life going to respect this for now. Cuz does get that knockup, spamming the R on Tabano. Nahyun doing incredible damage onto the Olaf.
Smite's
gets the one, but the Smite is dead. Can Nahyun do it alone? His ZA is going to be popped on the backside. Deft all alone going 1v3. Has Temp coming in too. Is able to take out the Urgot, but the Lasso goes down, and so does the Cassiopeia. Low members on the side of Hanwha Life, but they are able to stop the Baron and get it down and win the fight.
Everyone was accounted for except Songyun, who had every auto hitting and registering at 3.5, 4 items. And that ends up being the difference. We're going to watch the replay as these are some fast frontliners on the side of Hanwha Life. The disengaged cask is actually too late and ends up being a gap close cask. And frontline Silas goes down. From there, they stick on the Baron to Hanwha Life Esports, but, you know, it's too late. The Sivir counter has started, and watch Songyun, and tell me when he ever stops auto-attacking, because it just doesn't happen. He's always looking for targets, waiting for people to respawn, and it's just too easy for him. He's able to flash out, come back in, and the threat ends at this point. Yeah. And that's still with multiple members alive. Nahyun comes back, but he's going down. Too easy for Songyun, even though Deft and the rest of Kingzone, in this case, yeah, it is Kingzone actually. Yeah, Kingzone, yeah, that's right. Correct. The rest of Kingzone just can't do enough, even though they were close.
Silas, dead for the entire fight, does 0 damage, as also the Gragas this time around, more of a body slam knock-up bot in this sense, is able to do that in the end, as, well, they do give over the Baron. So it does feel pretty good for Hanwha Life now that they are able to get the Baron. It's a bit of a close fight, but they have that Sivir online, and boy, is she scary.
And how do you get her? How do you stop her from getting away? Spell Shield, QSS, Cleanse coming back in about 1.5 minutes. The flash is down, so there's a hope. There's something you can hit and hope for, but remember, you can QSS out of the first CC or the last breath, and the damage doesn't arm until after the initial tick. So because of that, actually killing Songyun. The backline access, it's Gragas only. Cuz we talked about those picks of destiny. We're going to have to go full Tenacious D here if they're going to get something going.
It's very true, and you have to wonder where Deft stands in this one on the Cassiopeia. In the beginning of this season, everybody was talking about how OP Cassiopeia is. She wins every lane, feels so good. Even though she got fed in this game, she's going to have no access to the Sivir in this one as well. So what is she really going to do? Chip away at the Urgot? Not much else in this game so far, as LeBlanc, even she does a lot of damage to the turrets. Sivir ultimate comes in, and the split pushing begins.
Well, remember what we talked about with Kingzone's sucky siege? It's not great wave clear either. They're going to have to hard engage at some point. Here it comes.
Okay, trying to get on top of Tal here, but there's the knockup. They get it onto the Thresh, trying to get in the back line. Watch Nahyun versus Songyun. Can he get the kill? He will, finally, in the end, but he is going to go down. But now it's up to Temp. He's got to try to carry this one, but Temp is so healthy. They get the kill onto that one, but here comes Rascal. Going to get the knockup on Abano, trying to turn this one around. Deft low on mana, but uses it very effectively, and actually Kingzone will be able to win the fight.
Tempt was really out of position on that fight and basically did nothing the entire time. He couldn't peel, he couldn't dive, and the stasis really mucked up any attempt to put out damage, so he leaves at full health, full mana as a LeBlanc. Watch the replay. Tempt was trying to auto the inhibitor in the mid lane. He is the secondary threat next to the Sivir. The Sivir had the very hard job of peeling away a Yasuo this late in the game. Best of luck with that. Eventually goes down, but all Tempt can do is chains, get through a shield, and then kind of watch on in horror. As from there, Rascal's not doing any damage, Deft has no mana, and still Tempt, full health, full mana, can do nothing.
Just not able to break into that backline after they just reposition after the stasis, as you were saying. Just immediately they get the Gragas in the front. Deft is totally safe in the backside. Is able to follow that one up. So Tempt still 6-0-2, but didn't really help out in that fight. They're going to need him to actually show up as the fights come along. Keep in mind that in that fight, Songyun did not have Flash. Not sure about the cleanse. I think I did see the QSS, yes, in that fight, but has the cleanse this time around, so maybe the next time with some summoners here for the big carries on the side of Hanwha Life, they might have a better chance.
Because had to Flash to get a ult anywhere near to open up the knock-up chain, and much harder for Yasuo to do that himself.
Oh, there's the fear onto LeBlanc and Tempt. Oh boy, that was pretty scary on the back of that side. Sivir gonna ultimate as well, just to threaten a re-engage, but pretty scary one. We're talking about the fear on the side of the Fiddle and what it can do to LeBlancs that jump in. We begin to see a little bit of that in small skirmishes such as that one.
And we're so used to the Zoe portal jump that you forget that a pretty similar spell on the distortion, you don't get that fixed return. You gotta actually be in control of your character to do it. And because of that, nothing doing in that particular regard. Might be interesting to see no lifesteal on the Sivir, but remember that Legends Bloodline now gives 12% lifesteal in the late game. We're in the late game, so there's more than a Vampiric Scepter already being worn, and you can afford to get a very late 5th item Mercurial Scimitar to finish everything off.
This game getting pretty crazy as we come along. We're hitting the 40-minute mark. Not sure who took the Gathering Storm in this game. Not super popular nowadays, but would be pretty nice. Either way, we have the Elder and the Baron spawning at essentially the same time. All trying to make a fight happen. They're looking to get on top of Deft. There's that burst damage, but the follow-up, they want to get onto the back line, but Songyun is just autoing over and over again, doing that damage. Finally, the GA will go down onto Nahyun, and he's going to go down as there is no follow-up from him. Tucson goes down as in goes the LeBlanc. Tempt able to make that play with his flash. And there it was. The Urgot flanking opens up 2 kills for the side of Hanwha Life.
And Songyun could just stand and deliver. He didn't have to do anything. Could just auto-attack and be fine. Didn't need skill shots. That's why you invest in Sivir. Always pays off at 40 minutes. Mid lane inhibitor goes down. Are they going to look for more? The wave clear on Kingzone is minimal at best.
They're even looking for assassinations here as Tempt is going to be chained down, and they are going to go all in onto this Cassiopeia. No can do. Down she will go. Rascal, though, is going to get the Fear Beyond Death himself, gets a Fear on a Tal, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it's going to do much. Cuz with a nice cask here, but there it is, the Fear Beyond Death and finish off from Hanwha Life as they will take the 2-0 victory over Kingzone tonight.
We sat there and said it would be a close series, and 2-0 doesn't read that way, but Hanwha Life were the favorites of basically everyone I talked to, because they dispatched a Kingzone team, or Kingzone-like performance from Genji earlier this week. So a 2-0 week from Hanwha Life Esports, a 4-0 week overall in terms of game score. Wong and On Air feeling great. The old CJ and Azubu connection there, not lost on the hardcore fans around LoL Park and around the world. Hanwha Life Esports and Kingzone DragonX were 4 and 5, but now for once we see some separation. And given our analysis of who these teams lost to, the fact they only lost to the top 3, we've had Hanwha Life for 2 splits in a row, finish 6th, but not be good enough to beat the teams above them and thus miss playoffs. Are they finally good in an LCK in turmoil? Good enough to actually make it to the playoffs for the first time as an org.
It's got to feel so good to Tempt himself. We were taking a look at his family there. I believe his mom and sister coming down to support him nowadays, and he had quite the series. Popped off on the LeBlanc, had a bit of a whoopsie when he was pushing there towards the end game, but outside of that was able to show up twice in a row. Once up against Pawn, One's up against Nahyun here, takes the double win, had a fantastic game on the LeBlanc this time around. Doesn't look too happy, but I'm sure he's got to be happy with his new team and new success found, and the confidence that his team is showing in him to come in here and get the wins. He's able to show up for them as well, and Hanwha Life will secure another victory.
And I have the schedule in front of me, so we should look at what's remaining for Hanwha Life. They've only got one more best of 3 to play in the first round robin, as they are done for week number 4. Their last match is the final game of the first round robin against Dumb1 Gaming. They're a team really close to top 5 and wanting to actually usurp a Kingzone DragonX lineup that just lost today. That'll be an interesting one, but from there, let's say they beat Dumb1. Then we have really interesting matches for them against Sandbox, SKT, and Griffin in the second round robin. If they can beat even one of those 3, they loom as one of those dark horses if they can maintain that spot for the playoffs in the top 5.
I mean, Hanwha Life has been a dark horse for a long time here in the LCK. We were just waiting for their moment to show up and be one of the playoff teams here. And in the new era of 2019, where it's like all these bigger teams are going down and all the newer teams are coming up, Hanwha Life are looking to be one of the older, newer teams coming into the top side for playoffs, and looking good so far, gotta say.
The coolest thing about them is you look at some LCK teams, the big name teams, and they recycled stars, right? Like, oh, Peanut to Gen G, and KT picking up BDD. Hanwha Life did the thing they always seem to do, where they recycle players that showed very little. Bono, for example, in 2018, they shined them, and now Bono and Tal, are they world beaters? No. Are they very fitting members of their team and also contributing to their very nice spot in the standings? Yes. They always seem to actually find some gold, even though it's not gold that you or I could easily identify. So credit to some of their veterans on the coaching side for being ahead of the meta and also ahead of their read of some players. They're taking Bono from Scrim God to actually LCK performer, and Tal from solo Q-Star and European Challenger into actually being a pretty damn decent performer in the LCK. Didn't start off great as they went for a 2-man invade, and like you say, a couple of whoopsies, this one from the duo and the later one from Tempt. Those accepted, everything went pretty well for the side of Hanwha Life Esports.
Bono, one of those names you mentioned, has the wherewithal to say, hey, we can actually turn this around, because probably going not super tanky this early on. They're able to get that kill, but Nahyun able to turn it around, which was pretty nice. Really set the tone for the mid game as both the mid laners got very fed. It was a close one all the way through, even down to this 3 versus 4 fight that Kingzone somehow were able to take the victory in. That's a very fun one to watch from beginning to end.
Definitely agree. A close one based on the action we were seeing. The only temperament we had, or tempering we had, was Sivir in the late game. The late game comp from Kingzone doing a lot of things, but nothing great. We kind of foresaw how the actual 35 to 45 minute phase would play out. But the action towards that, there were definitely moments where Kingzone could have overtaken. And I guess the question we'll be left with that we can't answer is, should they have just ran at that Baron at 23 minutes? Seems like that would have been a safer way to go than the ultra late game.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the only fights where they were really able to take down the back line. They get that 1,000 gold bounty. Tempt is out of position. Sivir doesn't really have her summoner, so you say, hey, we'll take it, but then immediately the next fight comes in. They get that Urgot flank to Hanwha Life, and it looks like such a better fight. And this is what we were expecting in the late game from Hanwha versus Kingzone.
And that's also why you think back to the statement I'm asking. At 23 minutes, they don't take the Baron. The only other time between 23 and 41 is a huge positioning mistake that gets them kills and nothing else, fellas. They don't get a Baron from that or a Drake, so preying upon mistakes can get you things sometimes, but more often than not at the highest level of play against a fellow top 5 team, they're not going to make the throw, the catastrophic mistake that we see from Jinair pretty reliably. And because of that, can't be surprised that Hanwha Life come away with the 2-0.
You really can't. It's good stuff to see from the side of Hanwha Life. Even pick up that last kill on Taco.
The chain
so
was just
satisfying.
enough damage there.
Yeah, just barely the ticking down damage. The damage over time gets the kill.
WTF, 2 chains. Different chains, but 2 of them. Looking at the numbers here, and yep, by the end, Sivir just pressed auto attack, and it was super effective. Don't need to know your Pokemon resists to work that one out.
You can see kind of the timing, as eventually, right after maybe around 35 minutes, just immediately a couple of fights go the way of Hanwha Life, and Gold Graph goes off the deep end as they get the 2 wins in a row. As I was saying there, the 2, can they stretch it into 3 is the question.
The answer for Valdez is no. He cannot stretch it to 3. You and I'm
very good at that.
You and I have never tossed a 3-game series together.
It's true.
In
Only
2019. In 2018, plenty, but
yeah.
Those days are over. Goodbye to SpoTV and OGN. We're in 2019, and we've got that synergy that gets us a Friday night.
It's a lot of 2-0s, very, very quick stuff, and really got to shout out Hanwha Life. You know, we always talk about, hey, Sandbox came into 2019. They were like 9th, 10th, 8th on a lot of people's tier lists. Now they're second. They're looking really good. Hanwha Life, another one of these teams, after going down to the not even challenger team in Kesma Cup, that is just showing up over and over again and really looking to make waves at the top of the rankings here at LCK, proving a lot of people wrong.
They signed players that you would assume no one else really wanted when it came to LCK squads. Bono, for example, was definitely not the first name off of the free agent list. And then they lose to a pickup team, and you're like, oh, look, it's a team that's going to be in the bottom 3 for sure. Suddenly, they're up there. Sandbox is joining them. The 3 Worlds teams are fighting to be relegated.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's actually because Challengers Korea is actually the best league in the world now.
I haven't tweeted it. I should have tweeted, you know, the Drake meme. I wanted to, after week 1, I wanted to do like the no with the LCK logo and the yes with Challengers Korea. I didn't tweet it out there.
Teams down there for sure.
I'm trying to like, you know, be like, yeah, my region is so good. But you know, some of our second sets have made that tricky.
Well, guys, either way, I'm going to hand it over to Ji-sun. She'll help out with the translation of the interview with Tent.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun with today's last interview translation, and we're here with another mid laner solo MVP for the MVP interview. So you have 400 MVP points so far. How do you feel right now? Well, today was the competition for the 4th place, so I feel a little bit relieved. I want to make sure to win the upcoming series and finish the first round robin with great results. Game 1, you played Yasuo in the mid lane. What kind of strategy was that? I did practice on that a lot, and that was actually from our head coach, his idea, but since we had great results during the practice games, we were able to kind of pull that off in the competitive games as well. Does Yasuo connect with you really well? Well, at first I was struggling a little bit, but throughout the practices I got a lot of confidence and I was able to kind of pull off better performance compared to the beginning. By the mid lane, actually you were facing up against the Airy Lysandra instead of the Aftershock. Well, the Airy one kind of has more pressure, but for me personally, I feel like the Aftershock Lysandra is more tricky to play against. Well, maybe that was why you were able to solo kill Pawn over there. Let's go through this clip. Well, actually, my W was really clean, but I had the feeling that I will be able to kind of make a solo kill over there. Well, he was low in mana, and I thought he was trying to just push lane and trying to recall, so I was maybe lucky to take her down. So Nayeon subbed in for game 2, so you faced the both mid laners of Kingzone, so how was that? Those are all good players. And Nayeon especially played Yasuo really well. So you were playing Yasuo in game 1, and game 2 it was Nayeon playing Yasuo. So how was playing against Yasuo for game 2? Well, during the laning phase, actually it is natural to LeBlanc to be in a lead, but he was doing really well in the side lane, and so it was really tricky. But you were playing really well, LeBlanc, trying some risky plays. How were you able to pull that off? Well, it could have been easier if there weren't Fiddlestick in the opponent's composition, so I had to go a little bit more safe. I was keeping my eyes under his skill shots and his CCs too before I was going in. Sang-hyun showed up in the previous interview saying that he was really happy for the 1,000 kill at LCK and promised to buy you great dinner. Did he really buy you dinner? Not yet, actually. Well, we're in the middle of the season, so it's really busy. Maybe later, hopefully. He did promise to buy us dinner. What do you want to eat? I want pork belly. I prefer pork over beef, so I think you're a really nice teammate. And your parents are out here to support you today. Well, there was my mom next to me, but I wonder where she is right now. Well, is there a message for your parents or your family? Well, actually, my mom doesn't really come out to support me to the stadium. I'm really thankful for them to coming to see me and support me from far away from Seoul, so I'm really thankful. Are you gonna have dinner with your parents tonight? I think we're gonna have a team dinner. I'm gonna say goodbye, but yeah, we have a team dinner after the victory. You have to win your upcoming series to secure your 4th place. That will be our last series for the first round robin to secure our 4th place. I'm going to make sure to pull that off. This will be the end of the interview with Tempt from Hanwha Live Esports, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun. As always, wonderful translation on that one. Definitely very hard to handle all the throws to the dad and all this new stuff. And
you also need
nice.
Really good game knowledge and the ability to interpret pretty significant, because Temp's talking about lane interactions and breakpoints and things like that. That's actually really difficult. So huge shout out to Ji-sun, who's also serving as our global PD right now. We very much appreciate her. Gave us some roses yesterday as a thank you. That's where they were thrown to. It looked like they were thrown to the fans. They couldn't quite pick them up. They left them on the ground, so we gave them to Ji-sun, and hopefully she appreciates our love. Great series. At the end of the day, Hanwha Live Esports able to close it out 2-0, and Damwon Gaming, especially coming off their big win. Damwon Gaming with their tail up and 2-win streak Hanwha Live. That's actually the sleeper OP matchup right now, because we thought it would be this one, and honestly, when we actually hyped something, it hasn't happened, but Griffin Sandbox did meet the hype. I feel like Damwon Gaming, if they can win again before that final match versus Hanwha Live, could actually be a poppin' series.
Damwon have Jin Air tomorrow, so
they're fine.
Well, they'll get the 2-0 there and, you know, pass, go, collect 2 wins, and then move on up against Hanwha Live. Feels bad to talk about Jin Air that way, but unfortunately that's kind of the scenario we find ourselves in, as they're still down there. But big cheers from the Hanwha fans as they move ahead of Kingzone and move one step closer to the top 3.
Makes you more frustrated that they just rolled over and died against SKT. That should have been a great series, the final one before the break, but it's just actually awful from Hanwha Live. Felt like they overslept and never actually got their alarm off, because they definitely didn't come up to contend on that day. Much better today, but tomorrow, you will be joined by the coach extraordinaire in LS, Gen.G versus SKT, 2017 World Championship rematch. But Gen.G, realistically, looking like they're not going to have much to show. And you know what? This could be a very quick day if SKT and Damwon play to plan.
You know, just based off of the standings right now and where those teams are, definitely looks like a bit of a one-sided day. Might mean that me and LS are going to have a bit of fun with that cast, so definitely should be interesting to tune into that one, guys. Definitely tune in for that. Should be a lot of fun, as, today, Hanwha Live impressing us.